Peace, Oakland. Let's talk about National Night Out, or National Night In, as I'm calling it. Because it came and went. And if you didn't notice, you're not alone. Because what used to be a vibrant ritual, block parties buzzing with music, neighbors, people sharing food, children chasing each other in the street, has become yet another hollow performance from the city. So let's talk about it. This year felt a lot less like a celebration and more like a wake, a funeral for civic trust. No energy, no joy, very little soul, just a few scattered tents and empty streets. Because the truth is, you cannot build community in a war zone, and you can't manufacture unity where the people have been abandoned, humiliated, betrayed, and demoralized. So, how are Oaklanders supposed to celebrate public safety when our streets and the flatlands are dumping grounds, our parks and third spaces are open air drug markets, our senior centers are closed down, and our businesses, vehicles, and homes are being broken into daily? And how are families supposed to feel safe when our city's government is too incompetent and too corrupt to even keep traffic lights working properly? National Night Out didn't fail because people didn't care. It failed because the people in power stopped caring first. You cannot fake a healthy neighborhood culture. You can't fake a healthy civic culture. You have to earn it. And right now, the folks running this city are too busy covering their own asses to earn anything from us. Now, since Queen Mayor Barbara Lee swore in, haven't you noticed the silence from City Hall? They simply don't communicate. It's no transparency, no real outreach. I'm not talking about puff pieces and curated meetings. Real outreach. Very little leadership, just darkness. And I hate to say it, but we fell for it again. Well, 55% of voters did anyway, not me. But some of y'all believe the same tired promises from the progressives again. These were the same people who voted and got Shane Tower into office, and they told you it would be different, and you believed them. Is it not the very definition of insanity? So some of y'all are still living in a fantasy land. Now, the Alameda County Grand Jury didn't randomly pick Oakland to investigate out of 14 cities in Alameda County for no reason. They focused on us because we are in a free fall due to government incompetence and corruption. Businesses are failing. Crime is rising. The city is deficit spending while handing out no-bid contracts to political allies and NGOs and losing lawsuits because our leaders pledge loyalty pledges to nonprofits and NGOs over taxpayers. And now they're trying to set up blaming our collapse on the charter. Now, you heard it here first. They're trying to set up blaming our economic collapse that's about to come on the city charter. So, when we're about to go bankrupt and they start talking about, oh, the charter is why it's happening because everything's so confusing, let that sink in. They're going to blame the charter. But the charter didn't bankrupt the city. The people running it did. You see the same crew of progressive grifters who gained control in 2019 and full control in 2022 have turned Oakland into a cautionary tale. Now, I know their policies failed. You know their policies failed. They even know their policies failed, but no one ever gets held accountable. Well, unless I get involved, it seems. So anyway, why do we let them get away with it again and again? I'm starting to lose faith in Oakland. Because while the well-off retreat to your manicured homes in the hills, the rest of us live in ashes of a collapsing city. So we're living in Gotham, Oakland, and the cancer is corruption. So to the voters, I say, wake up. Like I say on every episode of Gotham, Oakland, wake up and hold these corrupt people accountable. Now, we do have some good people. We do. So support them. But wake up and stop being lied to. Stop being mocked. These people are not leaders. They're parasites. If we want National Night Out to mean something again, if we want our neighborhoods to be safe to enjoy, we're going to have to take our city back. Not with slogans, with action, with courage, with the truth. This is Gotham, Oakland. Let's get into it. But first, please like, comment, and subscribe Share this with 3 of your friends. I think some of you have been doing that. We've been growing pretty fast lately. We are the fastest growing independent news show in Oakland, California, bar none. More and more people are tuning in to Gotham, Oakland every day because they want to know what's really going on. Now, I always like to shout out people who are doing a good job. So, to the council people out there who are actually responding to the needs of your constituents, good job. Now, hold the mayor accountable. It is day 76, 77, one of those. We're almost 200 days. Have you heard a word about this forensic audit? We had some big grand announcement about we're going to have a committee to study the charter amendment. Spur did that in 2021. They put the report out in November of 2021. How much more deliberation do we need? They're using it as political cover because that's all these progressives do is look for ways to deflect from their failures while in the background, they're still passing these policies. They're still giving money away. What do you think they plan on doing with this Measure W money, this financial windfall for the homeless? Do you really think it's going to lead to a better situation? You better support Ken Houston's encampment abatement policy then. If this money is going to be good to put to good use, it better not be going to the nonprofits to continue the status quo. It better go to new policies like cleaning this crap up and making sure that open-air drug markets are no longer supported and making sure things like illegal dumping are actually enforced and making sure that people who are spray painting all on the walls are arrested and embarrassed and given the maximum penalties for defacing our city time and time again. It is demoralizing. We need leadership and courage to step in. I've been saying this since 2000 when I ran for city council. And then when I ran for mayor in 2022, I told everyone that the city charter is a problem and that there's no clear delineation of power. And I don't mean that to say that it is to blame for our financial collapse. That is the policies that led to a lack of any public safety and demoralizing, demonizing, and dismantling law enforcement with the defund the police cadre of Nikki Bass and Mia Saka-Chin and Rebecca Kaplan and Dan Cobb and Carol Fife. And did I mention anyone? Any other progressive who were complicit in those policies? Shing Tao, how do I forget? Oh, Shing over there. Anyway, any one of these puppets that I have, blame them. But here we are, back to National Night Out. Now, I want to share some perspective real quick. We're not going to be here all day, but let's just get me go through some of the things I saw out there in cyberspace. Do we still say cyberspace? Is that a thing? Or the internet? Whatever. Beyonce's internet. What I've seen about National Night Out. What is the public scuttlebutt? So I'm going to start with X. You know I love X. X is my joint. And I've always loved National Night Out. Here I am in 2024. National Night Out has become a key date on the campaign calendar, marking the unofficial start of campaign season as early voting draws near in early October. If you're a candidate, it's a great opportunity to connect with the community. Aim to attend at least 4 events. With good planning, you can hit as many as 10. Keep your interactions brief and to the point and make your presence known and move on to the next event. There's no elections this year. Maybe that's why it's down. Here's another one, 2022, election season. Look at this. It's the best time. Look at this video. This was a list. Okay, Joe Public. Oakland's National Night Out participation this year was deeply disappointing, with barely half the number of events compared to last year. This sharp decline reflects a troubling drop in community engagement and trust. I'm convinced that the elimination of all neighborhood service coordinators, combined with the City of Oakland's legislators' continued deprioritization of public safety, played a significant role in this decline. It's clear that residents have taken a backseat to the personal agendas of our elected officials. And whoever Joe Q Public is, they don't have very many followers, but they're here to talk about Oakland corruption, and they have a YouTube channel. But anyway, oh, he's retweeting me. Oh, well, he follows me. Thank you, Joe Q Public. Whoever you are, I appreciate it. Even with your 132 followers or 34 followers, and I gave you one. You keep out there. You keep slugging. One day you may be at enough followers to cut through, but I retweet it, like I usually do. But point is still the same in the comments. Remember First Fridays in the summer. Cartel members, Kaplan, Dan Cow, all the people I just named, ruined all of that with a lot more for a quick buck. Interesting. It was impossible to find locations to the last minute. I suspect we're seeing less interest due to the COVID lockdowns, which turned neighbor against neighbor. I don't know about that. We had a lot more since COVID that were popping. Did you see the videos? Anyway, that's their perspective. It was so bad, only one Oakland lawmaker posted it on X and gave credit to the chief of the police. On the other hand, attendance by Oakland lawmakers was crickets. This year, I saw no announcements or signs. Not exactly true. Let's go to the Oakland side article. They have pictures, so obviously there were some people. National Night Out, Oakland side visited. 4 block parties. Interesting. Didn't I say 4 in my thing that you should hit? Maybe Oakland side, as always, following Seneca. East Oakland, Oakland, Grand Lake, and Lakeshore. Deep East Oakland has one picture of one lady and her daughter. I guess this is another child. And look what it says here. Rita, the resident service coordinator, a nonprofit, so they have people there working, said that this year's National Night Out was more low-key than any previous year, although there were plenty of games and activities for people of all ages. Okay, there's other evidence. People here saying it was more low-key. All right. Do we have any other? Oh, I do have some other stuff to share. Let me see. I got some other. I thought this was interesting. Let's look at Queen Mayor Barbalese. So one day ago, something about Oak Stop. This is not whoever her photographer is, though. You do a good job. You take real good pictures. It's not about National Night Out. Oh, National Night Out. So Queen Mayor Barbalese did post 10 hours ago. National Night Out was last night. 10 hours ago, it is 7:10 p.m. right now, currently. 10 hours ago was 7 in the morning. So I'll be visiting as many events as possible tonight, and I wish I could be everywhere at once. But they posted it the next morning. I think they saw our complaints online, and whoever her lazy social media manager is, or her comms director, isn't it Justin Phillips from the former San Francisco Chronicle food blogger, who with his platform, an op-ed column in the San Francisco Chronicle, pretty much spent all of his time aligning and criticizing the Oakland NAACP and bootlicking and supporting Shing Tao, who now faces corruption. And what was his reward for supporting Shing and trying to help corrupt people stay in power? He was hired by Shing Tao 2.0, Queen Mayor Barbalese. How many times do we have to connect the dots for you? In typical soggy fashion, they are posting the next day that they're going to be somewhere. I don't know how we put the make of this. And the city of Oakland did have something on the website, and they did put a PDF with the number of events and National Night Out public parties that you can compare to 2024, and that's how we know that there were less than half the amount. And so I have to say, so last night I was getting an early happy hour dinner. Well, we didn't get the happy hour party thing, so it ended up being a normal dinner with a friend of mine. And in Rockridge at Acre Restaurant, which was full on a Tuesday. Rockridge Restaurant Acre was full on a Tuesday. And I say that because Tuesday is traditionally the slowest day in the restaurant industry. Some people don't even bother opening up, but they were full. Oakland is a tale of two cities, just like many cities in third world countries. The rich are doing just fine. Everybody in there was having a great time. I spent $100 on a dinner just for myself, for my half of the two, and had a couple of drinks. And I was getting a ride back home, and I noticed the some of the streets were blocked off with the cones and like the caution tape. And I'm like, oh snap, that's right, it's National Night Out. I didn't even participate. I've always hosted a National Night Out event in my neighborhood. But somehow the energy is just gone. This is what demoralization feels like. And this is exactly what the progressives like. They don't want anyone participating. They don't want anyone participating. So I'm going to end today's episode by reading one of my favorite poems. And the last stanza of the first verse of this poem, I think most accurately describes the problem in Oakland today. And so I'm going to read it to you. It's The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. So this poem, The Second Coming, is written by the Irish poet William Butler Yeats. Yeats in 1919. First printed in the Dial on November 1920, included in his 1921 collection of verses, Michael Robartes and the Dancer. So here we go, The Second Coming by Yeats. Turning and turning in a widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere. The ceremony of innocence is drowned, the best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand, the second coming. Hardly those words are out when the vast image of the Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. Somewhere in the sands of a desert, a shape with the lying body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless at the sun. It's moving the slow thigh while all about it, the real shadow of the indigent desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to a nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast is our come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born? The best lack all conviction, while the worst are filled with passionate intensity. Progressives are the worst, and they're filled with passionate intensity. And the best Oaklanders right now are lacking all conviction. We're demoralized, we're apathetic. And it feels like we're giving up, but I challenge you to dig deeper. Don't give up on this beautiful city. For those of you who did have a National Night Out event yesterday, thank you for stepping up and doing that for your neighbor. And for those of you who had fun at your event, I didn't mean any of this to disparage you or belittle your efforts. Again, thank you. But for most of us, it feels like the spirit that makes Oakland special, the soul. Oakland has so much soul. And it feels like it's leaving the city because people don't want to actually rock the boat and fight for what's real. You cannot allow yourself to be lied to. The reason I make this show is to wake people up with the truth. You cannot allow things like the Alameda County Grand Jury report, and the reason that I keep referring to it is just look at it. I just want you to read it. Just read the first part of it. It clearly says that the city of Oakland's elected official and some of the staff, some of them, not all, mostly the new staff that were put in place by former Mayor Singh Tile, are woefully incompetent. They are weaponizing ignorance. I don't think they're as stupid as they're acting. I firmly believe they don't care that Oakland's going bankrupt. And just like any pimp, they will continue to pimp their prostitute, the hoe, the trick, the women. Some people pimp men, whatever. They're going to pimp the trick until she turns her last trick. And Oakland is about to turn its last trick. Now, I don't think we can avoid bankruptcy. I don't. I don't have time to go into that today. I'll tell you why on Friday. We're going to recap a lot of the themes that we've been following here in Gotham, Oakland. So come back on Friday. Please like, comment, and subscribe so you actually know when that happens.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.